Good evening and welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of Monday, September 19th, 2022. The meeting will be in person and via Zoom according to the regulations by the state. At this time, I'll open the meeting. Do we have any public comments at this time? If not, do we have some minutes you want to do real quick, like Dave?
Yeah. We have two sets of minutes. I've reviewed them. One is dated August 8th, 2022, and I reviewed all the information that was in there, and I didn't find anything that was needed to be amended or corrected, unless anybody else has. No. Then I move that we approve the August 8th, 2022 minutes.
So here's second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you.
Then we have the minutes of August 22nd, 2022. I reviewed them, and we were following up the water main upgrade, Sprague Road to Witch Pond. And I think we had a motion there to approve the findings and also endorse the order of conditions based on the information that Jane provided us. I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary of the rest of the work.
Okay. So any other?
Anybody else has any comments? Then I move that we approve the August 22nd, 2022 minutes.
Second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Oh, by the way, just in case anyone got a crazy email from me, I did not send it. I was completely hacked today, and I spent hours getting it corrected, I hope. So if you got an email from me, ignore it. I did not ask for credit cards. Okay. You all set with the 30th? All right. Being 7:05 p.m., we have an unauthorized alteration of the wetlands and deposit reservoir land underwater. And Mr. Nichols, you want to come up and tell us what's going on?
Well, you called me here and you asked me what's going on. You asked me what you'd like to ask me, and I'm gonna answer you truthfully and the best I can, because I would like to resolve this once and for all.
Okay.
I'd like to do it the right way.
All right. As you know, any activity within the 25-foot no disturb along the reservoir should be approved by the commission before you start. I understand that there has been some digging. We don't know. We've tried to visit your house on numerous occasions to do a look-see. You haven't responded to that. So that's what's brought us to this point. I don't know what's going on down there. I would like to know. And before we can proceed, I'd like to do a site visit, quite frankly, and see what's going on, what you want to do.
Well, we'll see about a site visit after we see how this meeting goes, because I have a few concerns about the conduct and my rights. First of all, you asked me to come here to work as a partnership, and I truly want to do that. But let me tell you what my concerns are. I've been here 32 years. I've been to numerous conservation meetings and Mr. Risch and so on, and we've had a very checkered past, okay? And I will say that there was a few mistakes I made that brought the heat down on me when I first moved here, because I didn't understand what the rules were. I didn't understand there was no water there at the time. It wasn't until years later they put the dam and it actually raised the level enough to bring it back to keep the water wet right near my house. The problem is, we all know, and I'll ask the question, Is there contamination in the reservoir?
Certainly
That's
there
dangerous.
is.
There is. Okay. And when does that become dangerous? When it becomes dry and airborne?
I'm not a scientist. I do not have the answer to that.
Well, you've had 32 years that I've lived here, and I've heard that that was the only concern after hundreds of meetings that we've had over the years, that as long as it was encapsulated in water, and you didn't go in there really mixing it up and disturbing it, it probably wouldn't be, or there was nothing they could really do, because after all, what are you gonna do? Drain the whole reservoir, and then you have to dispose of contaminated waste? Problem is, man made that. Man polluted it. Where was the town in the 80s and the 70s when they were dumping all that stuff in there? Who's protecting the people that live on there? And I will go a step further. There are places in that reservoir that we all know, certain areas that on a dry season, that dries up. And it gets dry enough where it causes everything there to become airborne. And it comes right up into my property where I either have to shut my windows because I can't be exposed to that. Now, I will admit, that's only happened 4, 5, 6 times that I've lived there. But nevertheless, in this year, it's been terrible. And I wait, hoping it will rain and rain. But when I look down there and I see the wind blowing, and it's making these little tornadoes, and all that dust is coming up, what is one to do? I see in the paper where Ms. Pierce here tells me that I was digging it out probably because of my boat. Because why else would anybody dig it out? Well, that's why I dug it out. To open it up, and I only dug out, it's this deep, this wide from me to you. And the only reason that was dug out was to allow the water to come back in because there was a hill of rocks. Everything else is silt around it, but there's one small area the size of this table is solid rocks. And all the dirt is washed away, and now it's just piles of rocks. Looks like when the ship sinks and the ballast is still at the bottom of the ocean. And I removed stone. And the buckets were to move the stone. But because of my age, I wasn't able to pick up those big rocks, so I put them in the wheelbarrow. And I moved them to the edge, and that's where I dropped them in there. Okay, it's as simple as that. I don't have a boat in the water. I wasn't digging for any other reason than to allow the water to flow in there. And now, even though there's not a lot of water in there, the land is moist. And as long as that stays moist, I have no problem with that, because then it's not blowing that dust up onto my family, my property, and all the other residents around us. And the other thing, too, in the paper with all the residents are doing this, so you're going to make an example out of me? I don't think that was the right way to go in the newspaper either. That was pretty careless, don't you think?
I did not write the article. A lot of this could have been resolved a year ago. When we knocked on your door, you refused to
What was the
come in.
violation then?
Same as it is now.
I was over 100 feet from the water. You know what I was doing? Huh?
Yeah,
I was putting my lawn back, because after the storm, the neighbor's yard fell onto my property and crushed all my property. I did not extend any of my property, take anything in the water, out of the water. I didn't put anything in the water.
Why
no
didn't you come and talk
vegetation.
to us?
You're
We
kidding
knocked
me.
on your door.
Should I get the paper from 15, 20 years ago where it says on the front page, Ridge Road man threatens life of conservation man? And we had to have that retracted with the attorneys from the Foxborough Reporter, because I was going to sue them, because that never happened. And Dave Risch knows it never happened. But that's what happens when you talk to the newspaper. And another thing, you come on my property,
We
okay?
came to your front door.
You have no right to come to my front door, nor do you have the right to bring the police officer. And I'll tell you why I know that, because I've been a police officer since 1985. Where is your administrative warrant? Where is your administrative? You have never served me in all these years with an administrative warrant. And when you go back to when Mr. Risch was there, they came in and threatened, and it's in the newspaper, of arresting my father-in-law because he was almost 400 feet from the water. I ask you now, what authority does the commission have when they're 400 feet from wetlands, rivers, or any other waterways? It's in the newspaper. It's all in the newspaper.
You want me to respond?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
watch, seeing that you're the one beat me up in the newspaper.
No.
Yeah.
They watch it on TV, and if they got it wrong, they got it wrong.
They got it wrong, okay.
Well, now, the right, our right to come to your front door is the same as the postman's right, or the delivery person's
Not when
right.
you've been told to stay off my property.
We haven't.
Yes, you have.
I
That's why you
haven't.
brought the police, because I told the gentleman that came to my house 6 months ago, whenever I was putting the berm in and putting my grass back from the tree, that the neighbor's tree fell on my, and tree tech legally removed. The only time I was in
I
that
wish you'd
water,
talk
and the
to
only
me.
thing I might have moved from that water was the neighbor's 80-year-old lady's dock that got destroyed. It was pressure treated, because when the tree fell, it ripped all the dock out, and we took it out by hand. And after we took it out by hand, we legally had it taken away by a company and paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And by the way, it wasn't just taking out stone when I was down there 3 weeks ago for it. I took out old tubes of tires, I took out bottles, I took out nails and boards that had floated in, because everything in that neighborhood comes in, that's where it blows in, until it hits the little island if there's no water there, and then we don't get anything in there. So, you haven't put your best foot forward either, coming on. And by the way, the police don't have the right to come to my house either. The police are very limited, and there's plenty of police officers in the audience here. We'll be happy to give you the section and chapter for when you're allowed to come onto somebody's property. So if it's a little bit hostile, that's why it's hostile. And he was asked, the gentleman, I told him he should leave my property and don't
Which he
come back
did.
until he has, what was it, the warrant in the police officer,
No,
correct?
you
And
didn't say,
come back
either one.
without-
You did not say either one of those. All
I-
you said was, I
Yes, sir.
better leave your property while I still could.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
That's all you
That's
said.
right. I
That's
went
a-
right there and no,
and
that's
that's a
not true.
threat.
I told you as you drove away, and don't come back unless you have a warrant.
No.
Or the police with you. And you think because you bring the police with you, that makes it lawful?
If that was true-
It doesn't
if
make
that was
it
true, it would be
lawful.
in
The
the
police
report,
do
sir.
not have the right to come on my property. They are very limited. Okay, well, let's get back to cleaning up the pond, because this is gonna go, I think it's gonna go. I hope you have deep pockets, because I don't want to go to court over this, but we will. Misfeasance, malfeasance, non-feasance, it just goes a tort. But you're gonna learn all that, just like I'm gonna learn about this. What are you gonna do to go down there and clean that dry thing up so it doesn't blow up anymore on us? It's just not me, it's a lot of the residents too. You should go down there, look and say, we got several problems, areas here, we need to at least clean those up to ensure the health of the public and the residents. Assist, partnership, 32 years. What has the commission done to improve the quality or do anything with that pollution other than letting the water out?
We've done what's been recommended, which is to leave it undisturbed.
And when it dries out, were you told just to let it blow up in the residents?
It
That-
hasn't dried out.
That
and
issue has been an
Discussed.
issue with the town, with the state, and, start out
And
with
the
Foxborough.
EPA, who's monitoring the EPA and allowed them to walk away from Snyder Electric? You got a major mess out there. And did we appeal that? Did we fight like hell for the people and say to the EPA, come on, we got a heavy polluted area, and you're gonna let Snyder Electric off the hook just like that and walk away?
We didn't let anybody off the hook.
No? Are they doing anything? Have they been released
We
from their
did- it's-
responsibilities by the EPA?
That was not our decision, that was the DEP.
Did you have any input into that?
Yes,
We had
May
input.
I talk?
Yeah,
please?
sure, talk anytime.
I've tried to come and talk to you because I believe that a lot of my job is educating the public about why we have these laws and why we do what we do and require what we do. It's not just you, it's everybody. We have to hold everybody to the same standards. We have a 25-foot no activity zone because vegetation and next to wetlands cleanses the water, does all sorts of other good things. I tried to talk to you a few times. I think you called me a long time ago. And
Is that
I
the time you
didn't,
hung up on me?
seriously?
Yeah, seriously, sure, and that's the last time I ever called. Because I called,
I don't
asked
ever
you if
hang
you were
up
doing
on-
anything. Oh, yes, you did. You hung up on me, okay?
I never hang up
Oh,
on people.
yes, you did. You get aggravated at me because I was aggressive.
I don't get
But I didn't say
aggravated.
anything that was bad. I was just aggressive with you, and you didn't click. You gave me the Ohio.
I
But that still
don't
doesn't get-
recall that. I don't
we
do
should-
that sort of
We
thing.
should spend more time trying to clean this up and make this a nice
Well-
place for the town. And, you know, I understand you can't control the water levels. Nobody can control
We've
the
done
water
everything that
levels.
we could as far
and
as
I
that
know, and
goes.
I know
This
you
is a
put the
wetland
dam in, and
violation
the
we're
dam
talking
helped.
about.
And I will say that it has gotten better, but I don't believe it has a lot to do with the Conservation Commission.
This
I
isn't,
think
this
you're
isn't
more
about what
hostile
we've done, sir.
towards the
Sir,
people.
Sir, this is not about what we've done. It's
Well,
about
it's
what you've
about what I
done.
have to do to protect
No,
my
it's about what
family.
you've
It's a
done
hazard. You're killing
and
my
correcting the
family. Do you
situation.
understand that?
You're distracting from the main issue.
You're more interested in the yellow-bellied sapsucker than you are the people and their children that have to
Yeah, that's
live
right.
there.
That's right.
Do you live in the pond, sir?
I live on a pond, yes.
Do you live in that pond, sir?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. She doesn't even live in the town. Come on, you think I don't know where, you're sitting there blowing
You're
smoke.
you-
Well, do you want to
All
take
We
right,
know
this
who's
question?
let's
smoke.
keep it civil.
I'll keep, no, let's take care of my family and my health.
Can I ask you a
It's
question,
not
sir?
because
Sir,
of
can I ask you a
boat.
question?
Wait a minute, I'm talking. It's not because of my boat, it's not because I put a dock, in fact, I took a dock out of there. But you know what's important? Am I the only one that doesn't have lawn that goes down to the water? Oh, no, I don't. Do I have anything that shouldn't be down there? No, I don't. I don't store it. Everybody else is throwing fertilizer, they're cutting the grass, let me ask you, how many permits have been issued for putting walls and stuff in the water?
I don't have
20
a
years.
number. I don't have a number.
Well-
That's
And
why I've
some
been
people-
trying to educate people on
Right,
that.
because
that
under the
laws
Freedom of
change.
Information Act, we're all gonna
Laws
find
changed
that out, that's
recently.
for sure.
Laws
Same
changed
with the
recently.
dock, do I need a permit to put a dock in?
Yes,
Well, then I could safely say when I get all the records, I'm gonna find that everybody with the dock in there has either been in front of you and been punished, or they've obtained a permit for those docks, have they?
there's ways of legally putting in a dock. We don't deny that.
And none of them are legal, and none of those walls, because don't tell me, none of those people ever got permits to put walls, full wall, cement, concrete walls
That isn't the issue
in
here,
the
sir.
water. Yes, it is
No,
the
it is
issue.
not. No, it
Because
is
it's
not.
selective enforcement.
No, it is not
Okay,
selective
well,
enforcement.
where do we go from here then? I'm not gonna go near the water again. I'm not gonna go near that, because I'm gonna consult people from here. I'm gonna get attorneys, and we're gonna do this.
You do as you like.
But it's gonna be a long, expensive journey, because I'm not by myself. All the neighbors are gonna get together, and there's gonna be a class
as you
action
like.
suit. Okay, good, well, I would rather resolve this, it would behoove all of us just to try to do something down there.
That's what we're trying to
Not
do.
just make, I think it was an example, was it, of me, when all the other, there's been egregious, should I read it to you? What's put in here? Are you responsible for this?
No, we're not responsible
I
for
write the
anything
report.
that's in
You're
the
not,
reporter.
no.
As a matter of fact, well, never mind, I won't tell you
Well,
what.
do you think somebody should correct it? Should I have to call again? Because this would be the second time that the commission has accused me of doing things that I didn't. Let me get back to another thing. Debbie Mara, driving in, she was the only one home. I was in the shower. We didn't know you were there. She was out getting medicine for her 88-year-old mother who is dying. You're banging on the door, according to the paper, several times, ringing the doorbells, and again you brought the police to the house to upset an 88-year-old lady who has no idea what's going on because you're all walking around like
We
troopers
weren't
out
just
there.
walking around. We went,
Till you get off the property. And had I been home, you would have been off that property. You think I care if the police are there? They're there unlawfully. I don't care. Do things right. You want to do it? Let's do it right. I'll play ball with you.
How
I'll
many-
come here and I'll do what you ask me to do. And I'm not going to go down in there and get a sample. You're kidding me, right? You tell me to stay out of there, then you want me to go in there and get a sample and bring it here? Or have it tested? No, you have it tested. You're the town. You want me to do your work?
No.
It's going to be embarrassing. All this stuff is drying up. What are we going to do about this? Is there going to be any discussion that we can try to do something? Or is it just going to be stay away and that's the end of it? Because I am going to stay away. I am not going to go near that water. I'm not going to remove anything. I'm not going to put anything in. I am going to comply with your request. Okay? In no way am I going to break the law. I'm not going to do it. Okay?
Give us a site visit.
Why would I give you safe? You can't
you
see
said
from
you-
my
you're gonna-
property.
you
You
just
need to
said
go
you're
in.
gonna
Why
comply
don't you
with our
call
request.
Chuck
Our
and
request
Barbara who
is to
keep
get a site
calling
visit.
on me?
Is one of our requests.
Okay, what is it you
Do you want to
expect to see?
comply or do you not want to comply with our request?
You can't see from my property.
Do you
I will
wanna
tell you what, I'll
comply
take,
or do
I'll,
you
I'll
not wanna
consult with
comply
the,
with our
I'll
request?
consult with an attorney and I will get back to you within a reasonable 30 days. How's that? But I'll let you on my site. But I can tell you right now, I will not touch, I will not remove, I won't go within 100 feet of that water. That is what I'm telling you right now in front of everybody. There'll be no reason for me to go down there, touch anything, remove anything. I will not do that. I will comply with everything you ask me to.
Should've done that a year ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You should have cleaned it up a year ago.
That
You
shows
think
your
that's funny?
concern.
You think, you think this is funny? You think this is a joke?
I think
you
what
think
you
it's a
said,
joke?
I think what you said is funny, sir.
You think what?
I think what you said is very funny,
You do?
that I should clean it out.
Well, you want me to do it?
No.
Did I put that in
don't
there?
want you to
Was
disturb.
I negligent? You,
don't want
whoever
you to
was supposed to be
disturb the
monitoring the Foxborough company, where were they? What were they doing? Tell me, why is it all that stuff? That stuff wasn't done in a year. That stuff was going on for a long time. So who was negligent then? I think the town was negligent. Wasn't on Kenny Nichols to be checking that water, right?
The laws have changed over the years.
The laws
And that
really
was,
did not- what law is that that's
and that
changed,
was, a lot of the laws have, the wetlands protection laws
Tell me
have.
something, Jane.
Well, will you listen?
I'm listening.
All right.
You have my attention.
There was a permit issued by the EPA, and that was way before they knew better, obviously, because I think that it shouldn't have been allowed, but that's my opinion. And the wetlands laws changed with the Rivers Protection Act. They're constantly changing. The Wetlands Protection Act and regulations are changing. We also have a bylaw, and the bylaw has regulations so that we can treat everyone the same and have the same standards. Now, I'm not talking about 20 years ago. I wasn't here. I wasn't here.
So there's been no violations in the last 10 years then?
There's a lot of stuff that has gone on there, and honestly, I don't necessarily want to see it. There's a lot of it's been like that, I'm assuming, from the get-go. And that's why I say education's so important, because I do own land on a lake. And the last thing a lake owner wants to do is pollute their property. But
Absolutely.
if you
I
don't
couldn't
know,
agree more with you.
if you don't know about the science, I have a new book from my Mass Association of Conservation Commissions that's scientific studies about the importance of buffer zones and how they cleanse the runoff and erosion controls and this, that, and the other thing. And they're learning more all the
I believe in that. I think
time.
You're absolutely right. That's why I don't have any grass, because I realized through the years, fertilizer's got to be washing down there. It's got to be going
Absolutely,
into the pond.
absolutely.
Where
So
else is it gonna
education,
go?
education, education. The Lane Learning Center, as a matter of fact, one of the main reasons that I'm really proud of it is because we're trying to show people what alternatives we're talking about. Because you go to the hardware stores and the plant stores, and they don't tell you about native plants. They don't tell you that fertilizer is going to pollute your water and cause nutrients. You've got all sorts of nutrients in there already. It's there. There've been a lot of studies. I actually looked into all of them before I was writing up the information. And my concerns about cadmium are based on the scientific studies. Not that the town hasn't tried to get it fixed up. They have. And I can show you the information about that. But the DEP closed that site out, which
Which is an absolute disgrace.
I know. And
But I ask you-
I'm hoping there should
It
be a
should
Can I
way.
have
ask you a
big fight.
question, sir?
Sure.
Have you joined the Neponset Reservoir Association?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My kayak has a hole in it. But let me get back to
Well,
this.
the reason why I ask, okay, they have been fighting Snyder, whatever, for a long time, trying to get this resolved, get the reservoir cleaned up. A voice like yourself would go a long way to help in that. Sitting by
You're
and.
missing the point, sir. It's not up to the civilians and the people. It's up to the town with the support of the civilians backing the town, not the town backing the civilians going after they've been the ones that have allowed it to get polluted. See, that's the part you're missing. But the bottom line is still, what am I supposed to do when it gets warm again and that turns all dry behind my house? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Other than that strip of stone, and what's happened is all the stuff is washed away, so there's just piles of stone. And the muck is this deep. In fact, my dog chased the ball, went over and jumped in it. I had to drag it out of there and hose it down, because God only knows. I mean, you could lose a child in there, and that's not where I'm going with this. I just want to know what we're supposed to do, because this isn't going to be the last time it's going to dry up.
Want me to tell you what to do?
Yeah. Don't say leave it alone, Jane. I'll
No,
lose
no,
my
no,
mind.
no, 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 no,
Please.
no natural vegetation. We need natural vegetation, and a lot of the vegetation along that edge had been nuked. It looked
Well-
like it was orange.
I can tell you you're right, you're gonna get a ton of vegetation. You know why? Because I have people from the environment, I have people that ecologists here, I have all sorts of people, and they're all gonna tell you the same thing. That green just keeps growing and growing and growing, and every year, we try to fight to get people to put a little something in there to clean it up, because it's sucking all the oxygen out of the water. Do we agree on that?
Well, the NRRC is doing that. Now that the town owns the Neponset Reservoir because of they own the dam,
It's
the
like- it's like
NRRC
asking to
does the
unload
studies. and
babies,
such.
dead babies in a garbage bag. You can't get them to do anything. You can't even go out there. If you've been out there, the stuff is coming right through the water.
And the reason for that is partially because lawns go all the way down to the water. People use
agree.
fertilizer,
People
their
bring in their
septic
boats in
systems
there,
may
yeah.
be gone or not working properly. They don't have vegetated buffer zones. That's why I feel so strongly about educating the public, because I study about this all the time, and that's why I wanted to talk to
We're losing the
you.
battle. That's what I'm saying. Little by little, it's encroaching, encroaching.
You gotta
and
choose
it's
your
getting
battles.
deeper and
You gotta
deeper.
choose your battles. There's only so much you can do. The town has really tried hard, and I wish you'd seen it,
So
to get it
You're just supposed
fixed.
to sit there and watch it die and not be able to go out and do anything, go out onto the water?
It's frustrating. I'm frustrated.
32 years, it is frustrating.
I'm frustrated with
I
it.
wasn't, when I bought the property, I wasn't told it was all polluted, and then I finally try to clean it up, and you find out,
All right, we want to do a sidewalk. I'll give you till
And-
next,
and-
no,
and
I'm
I-
going to
and
give
I-
you till,
let me
listen,
just-
listen
let
to
me
me.
finish
No,
up.
I'm talking. I got the
Okay,
floor.
you're right. Okay, you
I
got
got
the
till the
floor.
26th. You want to meet with your attorney and talk to your attorney about
Yeah,
whether.
whether I'm gonna give you
All right,
site visit,
give us till the 20, give us a response as to whether we can come on as of the 26th.
okay,
All right?
26 it is. So is there gonna be any plan that we can, to rectify this, and at some
I'd like to
point,
see the property
get it
first.
open, do something so it doesn't dry up anymore?
Well, we can work with you, but
Work with
let
you,
us come on the property first and see what's going on.
Probably your chances, I can tell you right now, are probably not very good to that. So you start to cooperate, we might as well just get into court over this. I don't
Hey,
wanna
I go to
do
court all the
that,
time.
but-
It's fun.
No
It's
need.
great.
Well,
It's
we'll be
it's
downtown.
my practice,
We
so.
won't be around here. I mean, what else am I supposed to tell you? I mean,
Well,
you
let us
just
know on
want
the
to come
26th.
down, look at it and say, yeah, we'll just leave it alone, nothing you could do, plant vegetation there, you can live with it. No, I can't live with it.
What's the harm in us doing a site visit?
What's that?
Well,
What's
he's
the
going to let us
harm?
know by the 26th, and I think it will be beneficial to all of
You
us.
just told us it was a zilch chance of
Well,
that
I mean,
happening.
Well, we'll
what-
see.
What is it to my advantage? What's that? Somebody wants to
Because
talk.
we're trying to resolve this, that's all. And just try and do it right.
You can see better from the guy that called you, Chuck's house. Ask him, he's 10 feet, I'm 100 feet away. What else can I tell you? You know, this was, you asked me to come in here, thought we'd work something out.
We treat everyone the same. As a matter of fact, the
Well,
port,
we're gonna find
the
that
port,
under the Freedom of Information Act, I'm gonna pull every
look up
permit, everything you've
54
ever done.
Neponset
Don't
Avenue.
worry.
I mean, yeah, Neponset Heights.
If
No,
you're going
seriously.
to talk, use the mic. You're being televised.
I'm on television.
You're on television.
Back here then, that's like the Price is Right. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do.
If you're going to talk, use the mic.
I'm getting my turn. So you want to come down and see the site. If I let you do that, then what happens from there? When you see that I didn't move any silt, it was only hard stone that I moved.
Then, okay.
Then we'll
But we
know.
have no way of knowing what's going on without,
Well, I gotta tell you, too, you know, there isn't much to see there because it rained
okay?
and it filled in, to be honest with you. There's not a lot to see there, but I will take that into consideration, let you come down there. But I think when you come down there, you're gonna realize that it's like looking from here to the center of town when you can walk around and be from me to you and see where I was in there. So I don't know why I would tell you that and help you, but I will
Every little
take that
bit
into
helps.
consideration. But I just wish we could have gotten further, and I just wish there's an answer, and there's no answer. You have no answer for that mess that's down there. And we have to live with that, and
But
I
we-
just don't see that being fair. You know, who's responsible for that?
Unfortunately, things were done a long time ago. The Foxborough, and it was the original Foxborough company that was given state permission to discharge into Gudgeon Brook,
Federal, too, Army Corps.
Army Corps.
It's the Army
Okay,
Corps.
federal. we had no control over it. And they did not know the dangers. We learned through
That's why the laws
trial and
changed.
error, but it was not our fault that it happened.
Right.
And we're-
And I understand that was true,
Okay.
but we know that now, and we know
Okay.
that there's
Okay, what do
very
you
certain
propose?
areas there that, I suppose, is there money, was it not money put aside for the cleanup of the reservoir? Am I correct, or assuming that
There
there
was
was?
some monies set aside.
For the maintenance,
For maintenance.
for maintenance.
Well, maintenance, okay, that's part, I mean.
Wait a minute,
if you
let's just-
have an area, sure, that
Okay.
dries up, and you know that's a
Oh, you're saying-
problem, and it could be a dangerous situation, don't you think that they should devote a little time, effort, and say, okay, let's go over there? That's a part that gets exposed. We can at least relieve a little bit of pressure by cleaning this particular area up. The rest doesn't get dry. Okay, but there are specific areas that dry up all the time, and those are the areas that should be cleaned. I'm not saying go clean the whole pond up. I'm not saying come over and dredge in front of my house. Make a deep hole just coming in. Don't touch anything. Just make a hole coming in so water comes in. Make it, instead of it being a high spot, it stops drying out. Just give me a little path that comes in so it stays wet. That's all. I'm not asking you to take any muck, I don't want to take any green out of there. I planted more trees and stuff in my house. I just don't plant anything down near the water, including my grass that got ripped out when they come in to take out all those trees that got ripped in that storm we had. And the worst part was my property got
See,
destroyed. It wasn't even my trees.
If you had
It
talked
was
to
the neighbor's
me,
trees.
if you had talked to me, we could have talked about this, because I'm an impartial observer. I'm following the laws. I'm here to educate people, and I really want to.
Well, was it you that came down to my house? You saw the piles of dirt. You
The
see
reason,
nothing. I
okay,
wasn't within
the reason
100
he
something
came
feet.
down,
I did
let me
too.
tell you something, please. The reason he came down was because I was on vacation, and it was in Maine, it was 6 hours away, and my father had just died
I'm
while I
sorry.
was on
I'm sorry for
vacation.
that.
So I wasn't thinking straight, and I said to the commissioners, okay, somebody has called this in, they had a picture, and they said, is this allowed? It was from out in the water. And it was, I asked somebody to go and look at it. Rich was nice enough to go look at it. And he has a different approach from me, clearly.
Well, and I won't say that he hadn't done anything wrong. He come in.
was
but I
asking you
was
to
a little irate
cease.
come in. But, I mean, it didn't take long to look to realize that those trees that come down tore up my property.
I
and
wished
when
I'd
they-
known.
When they tore out, it ripped out the lady's dock next door.
I
and
wished
just
I'd known.
shattered
You
it.
should have
And
told
She asked
me.
us if we would take it out, and we didn't even go out there. What we did was, somebody walked out there on the dock, tied a rope, and we pulled it, section by section, we pulled it in. It took
All right,
us-
so this is me. This is what I do. I go and I look at the aerial photos. I see what do the photos tell me for the history of this site? Gee, there was a really long dock there forever, going back to the late 80s, it seemed.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, last year, it looked like a bunch of trees had been cut down.
Okay.
But
they
yet this
weren't
is
cut
what I
down.
saw,
Okay,
and I
okay,
didn't
right.
talk to you, and I
That's
didn't,
right.
I had no idea.
Yeah, okay,
This
that's
is,
fair,
this
that's
is
a fair
all
estimate.
I could do was aerial trespass, which is one of the only tools, and it's a pretty cool tool. And I'm a geek, and I like it. So it's one of the few tools that I have when we try to serve a cease and desist order, and then I would come and tell you why, if you came to the door, and I would explain why and ask you to come to the meeting and say, this is what you can do, and this is, it's, I made assumptions and you made assumptions that weren't
Trying to
accurate.
clean up something they had no control over, it wasn't even my property, the tree fall onto my property. I took the dock out, I am
I didn't
guilty.
know that.
I did go in, actually, I didn't go in, somebody else went and tied the rope, and we did pull the dock out of there. And this time when I went in, I pulled in all the pieces now that were at the bottom of the pond with the nails in them and the bottles, everything through the years that have accumulated, bike tires, everything else that was in there. I did take the
That was
dock
quite
out
the
of there.
dock.
And after it was removed, tree tech come in, and tree tech's the one that removed the tree. They had to cut a path through the lady's property.
Tree
Cost
tech's been better.
thousands.
Tree tech has been better. They usually will tell me if they're going to be cutting a tree close to the water.
No,
As
no,
a
no,
matter of fact.
Excuse me, Jane, that's what you keep, they didn't cut it. It ripped right out of the ground. There's pictures, the stump was 20-something feet. It was monstrous. It destroyed her
Well,
dock. It wasn't that they cut the tree. In fact,
Because I was involved in this, so I was gonna sit back and whatever, but, all right, so on that bad storm, AJ Dooley, Foxborough cleanouts, tree fell down. The stump was literally the size of this room, and I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
Okay,
I want to see it, that's cool.
so tree tech went in, cleaned the hole, and cleaned up the tree, and we went in and we cleaned up the dock. All right, so the dock was shattered in many, many pieces, and I live on the lake, and I live on Ridge Road, and I offered to help in this situation. I was the one that he said that he paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I don't remember that part, but I'm just kidding. No, in all honesty, so we cleaned up a mess, and he's absolutely right. So he lives in a cove, and there was a lot more than just a dock there.
Okay,
There was.
Okay, we don't have to beat a dead horse to death.
Well, we're not beating a dead.
Okay.
Hold on, in fair, right? We're
Okay.
not beating a dead horse.
All right,
You
it
guys
would have
did-
been resolved very easily if he had just come to talk to us, let us go on the property, see what was going on. None of this would have happened. All
right.
Okay,
So,
so,
what-
okay,
But the
Hold on,
passage,
hold
check
on,
it. Don't
I'm
you see
talking,
the
I'm
last
talking.
time I went round and round with Rich, I was in the front paper, the newspaper.
how long ago
every
was How
long
single
ago?
one.
Sir.
Where it's
The
a
last
different-
time I even went near the water, and that was back in the early 90s.
It's a
Ridge
different
Road, man,
world.
threatens life of crime. It wasn't until the Boston Patrolman Association was giving me big lawyers to stop it.
Can
to
I-
put a retraction. And
Can
then
I-
you
can
wonder
I
why
just
I have
say
a
something?
sheltered pass? Jesus, how
say
many
something.
times you gonna be punched in the face?
Let me just say something. So what was done was there was a storm that destroyed the area. We cleaned it up. We took. I want to talk.
Okay, all right.
All right. We cleaned up the area. Okay. He admittedly said that he admittedly says that he probably could have handled this differently. Okay. But you guys could have handled it differently as well. Oh, hold on. I'm still talking. All right. So you guys could have handled it differently. He could have handled it differently. Some people might be saying I could handle this differently. But here we are at a point where, in all honesty, like, I'm reading in the newspaper that you guys want to bring him to Superior Court and stuff. Like,
Was read the newspaper, it says Superior.
hold on a second, Jane. Hold on a second, Jane. You should read the article
Sorry.
because
Let AJ finish.
it said that you're going to bring him to Superior Court, and and you're going to make an example of him. And those are the things that, like, in all honesty, I don't know if our budget can afford to bring him to Superior Court right now in the town. And I'm pretty involved in the town, and I think that that's a bad decision. So as he's saying here, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Andy has a neighbor that's a snitch who will call on him, right?
Picking trash up.
So, I think that it's the best of everyone. Let's put this thing away.
I have the article right here.
Am I supposed
Jane.
to?
May I read?
Am I
No.
supposed to say to everybody though, yeah, and the neighbor over the left of me was out there, they were picking up the big stones and moving them over because.
Drive around the lake, man. Everyone's got nice properties. Everyone's got nice properties.
Like that.
property look when you walk
So,
into that yard?
thanks, AJ, I appreciate it. So we're just, if we're gonna close this out, we need just an opportunity to just walk the property. And Give you a week to-
I could see that.
give you a week to think
happening.
about it.
Okay, yes,
And then,
that's
and
really.
get back to us
Okay.
by the 26th.
fair enough?
Okay,
One thing
and I'll
about-
tell you what, you can talk to me, but please, no more articles in the newspaper telling me that the egregious, all the violators of Ridge Road have been egregious and they're gonna bring me to court and make an example of me. You can't put that, that's gotta stop. And, my mother-in-law in there, she didn't come up, said they were scared to death, they didn't know anything. Same with the constable delivering me, leaving it on my door, he called me, he left me a message. Just leave
Well, do you have, what's your
I hear
phone
you.
number? I couldn't find it.
it. You ain't gonna get it.
Well,
Hell is wrong with you?
All right, so we'll look forward to hearing from you. All right,
Okay.
thanks for coming in now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Making a motion to continue, what are we doing?
Okay. All right.
What's that?
We don't know what's, people could be violating this. Because we don't know what's going on with that kid.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just check it out.
In 710, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetland Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public meeting on Monday, September 19th, 2022, at 7:10 PM in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, or via Zoom on a request for determination of applicability filed by Lori McDonald for the installation of a new sewage disposal system to upgrade an existing field system at 3 Meadowview Road, Assessors Map 5, Parcel 58, within 100 feet of it, wetland resource area. Application available for inspection at the Conservation Office. Mr. Truax.
Good evening. For the record, Rob Truax of GLM Engineering Consultants. I'm here to represent Lori McDonald. So, this is the existing site. It's at the corner of Meadowbrook Road and North Street. It's a single-family home. There's a swimming pool patio area in the rear of the house. There's a intermittent stream through the wooded area out back behind the pool and then down along, and it crosses onto North Street. The house has a driveway off Meadowbrook. You can see here, this light green area is the existing lawn. The dark green is the woodlands. The BBW along the edge of the brook is right along the edge of the brook. So right now, the existing septic system is out here in the lawn area. We did some soil testing around the perimeter of the existing system where the leaching field is. We're looking to put in a new leaching field. We're tucking it up closer to the road than the existing. There will be a little bit of clearing of the trees right in this area. There's about, I think it's 2 to 3 trees that come down and then some brush in order to put that in and keep it further away from the wetland area. The existing tank is currently partially under the driveway, so that will be removed and destroyed. We'll put in a new tank. We're going to keep it up on that side. We will cross under the driveway to access the leach field. We are able to do everything via gravity. We are installing innovative technology. We're using what's called an Elgin sand filtered system. They're geotextile chambers. You can see them up here. And that gives us some relief to the size of the system. It helps keep it compact and in the corner of the yard over there. So we really didn't have a lot of options. The front yard has the water line going right down the middle of the house. We really didn't have any room out there to do anything. The back area, it just keeps coming over here into this area. So we weren't really able to get out in the back. So we tried to keep it in the same spot, pretty much where the existing leaching field is. We were able to meet the setbacks to the wetland area per Title V and what's required for the leaching field. I can't see it with my glasses on. And it's in red. You can probably read it better on your plan. I can't see red. Sorry, I'm colorblind. I shouldn't use red on my drawings, I guess. So we're just looking to go forward. We did an RDA basically because it is a septic. We don't expect the work to take more than 2 weeks, so it will be a short period of time of alteration for the area. We will install, we're putting in some wattles along the perimeter, right through the middle of the lawn. We will do a little bit of stockpiling right in this area of the lawn, what they take out for the topsoil so they can put it back and then reseed the area. So it'll just be the topsoil that they remove that they'll need to put back. Any other deleterious material will be hauled off-site. And they will run into a little bit of the existing septic system, so that will be hauled away.
Now, with the substance at the existing system, does that have to go to a special disposal?
It does not necessarily. It depends on what they find. If it's all dried out, they'll just bring it to a landfill.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, it's an improvement over a failed system, so I have no objections to it. Does anybody?
Yeah, the only question I have, the stockpile is on where existing lawn is located?
Yes.
How
Also
far away
has-
from the intermittent stream will it be?
Stockpile?
Yeah.
I think I have the hay bales about 50 feet.
Okay.
Has it been approved by the Board of Health?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to call. I don't know. He hasn't sent me anything yet.
Okay.
Have you gone to the Board of Health?
We've submitted it to him, yes.
Okay.
I thought we don't allow hay bales anymore. Jay?
We don't really.
What's that?
Except I'm not going to fight anything right now.
What would you like to see? I'm sorry.
We usually have the Board of Health approve it before we see it.
Oh, okay.
And also hay bales are a no-no these days because they have weed seeds and all sorts of horrible things. Silt fence is good. Silt fence often
We
is
can
all
do
you
a silt
need.
fence if you prefer.
It's often all you need.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the hay bales, you get all kinds of crazy.
we were using the
grass.
sock, the straw wattle.
Well, that's good.
Thing, kind of, I think. No?
Well, you remove it
Usually
when you're done,
compost
it's easier to
bills.
remove.
Compost feels better because the straw wattles, the compost is heavy and it
It
kind
is
of
heavy.
mimics what the vegetation would do. Straw wattles are floofy. I don't think that they
They're
do
not
much.
very heavy, I will admit.
Plus, when you get heavy rains, those type of devices can really stop any sheet erosion.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, we do expect it to be a short window of disturbance, so
And it's pretty flat, isn't it?
it's very flat. The lawn is flat, so we
That's
don't have a
why-
steep slope.
That's why silt fence, I think, is sometimes better than
Yeah,
using
we
hay
can,
bales
we
and
can do a
stuff.
silt fence, it's just go in the
It's cheap and
lawn.
easy to install and easy to take out.
Yeah, you can install that easily enough,
Okay,
trench it through.
I mean, you know the bottom line, no silt in the wetlands, so if there's going to be a big rainstorm and you don't think that the stuff's going to hold, put silt sock or something behind it.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of erosion this summer.
that's
Hasn't been
for
any
sure.
rain to erode it.
There's been a lot lately, that's for sure.
This
One
will-
one thing we also recommend, even though it might be out of our jurisdiction, is erosion control from going out into the street, dragging them, any mud or sand and stuff where it's gonna wash down to the drain system.
Usually the Board of Health keeps a handle on that, you know, we watch that as well, but,
Well, usually we like to
the
see that.
driveway does slope from the street to the garage.
Yeah,
And it peels off, it would swale in this direction. So if there was any mud on the driveway, it's gonna go down into the silt
Yeah.
fence. It's not gonna go out in the street. The only
Okay.
way it's gonna go out there is if they track it out there.
well, that's usually, we
Right.
like to see that recommendation on the plan, that they're responsible to controlling that, and putting something down, or a mat, or a stone mat, or whatever.
We wouldn't, they'll be using the driveway for access, so we wouldn't do
Okay.
a stone mat for this type of site, because we have a paved access. So I mean, like, they're gonna bring in sand and take this out, and they'll be able to dump right off the edge of the driveway right here.
Yep,
But they won't be doing a lot of tracking of mud out, in
Okay.
or out, so. They will do a saw cut to put the pipe under the driveway. That'll be a trench patch. So it's not, if they were coming in off of, like, driving in over here to the back or something, I would put a stone pad for the erosion out by the street. Because then they would be tracking, but they're gonna back in off that driveway, so it'll be limited.
Okay. Any other comments? Somebody want to close?
Let's just make a motion.
Make a motion for it, make it,
Negative determination?
yeah.
We have to wait for the Board of Health first?
Pending.
Could you just make
I
it
can add the
subject to?
condition.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think
Add
there'll
the
be any
condition.
changes, though,
We're not gonna change it.
no.
He would have had comments by now. He's had it for a few weeks. He usually comments to me if he has anything right away within
Yep.
2 weeks.
Yep.
He's had it for a few weeks, and I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
Before you do that, any comments from the audience? Okay.
So just make a motion for a a negative
neg-
determination for proposed work at 3 Meadowview Road, Foxborough.
There, second,
Second.
discussion?
Add silt fence as as an erosion control?
Yeah.
As a
Subject
condition
to.
as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's dependent on Board of Health approval, too.
Right,
Yeah.
subject
Yeah, I
to-
put
Pending Board
with
of Health.
pending Board of, yeah,
Yeah.
that's better. Pending Board of Health approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Thank you very much.
More than
Have a
welcome.
good night. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Excuse me? Oh, well, direct it through the chair.
Meeting, I didn't know if it was over, and it's just a general question that doesn't
Well,
really.
you want to
Public
come
comment.
up?
Like you'd like to educate and more.
You want to come up and use the, you want to
Please,
come up and use the mic just
please,
to,
please.
I get my ears man back
Gerald,
there.
18 Hallowell Road. I'm familiar with the Nichols situation. This isn't pertaining directly to that, but just as a general question, the concern was that the bottom of the lake gets disrupted, and you don't want that. What happens when these trees on the edge of the lake fall over? Because the one that started this whole thing at the Nichols house was 18 feet wide, at least 15 feet high. And most of that came up out of the lake. So all that water gets disturbed. After learning all this tonight, I'm just wondering how much pollution is getting released, just naturally, not by homeowners digging around.
Well, from what I read, the studies have shown that although it was, let's see, predicted, that's the way I'd say it, predicted that natural sediments, because all of the ponds everywhere around Massachusetts, New England, they're eutrophying, they're basically filling in, because that's what ponds do, except for the really deep ones. So the assumption was that the sediments would cover the cadmium, and life would be good. But unfortunately, it seems that the cadmium is resuspended in the water during the winter for whatever reason, and then settles in to the soils. And I'm not an expert on this, it's just from what I've read. And they've been shown to be in the top 6 inches of sediments, which is exactly what I saw had been dug out, which kind of horrified me. And you shouldn't be monkeying around with the water, land underwater and stuff. In the good old days, they would let the lakes down and people would go out and take the tires out and bring their dock in and things like that, which, that's fine. But,
So it's not really capped.
No,
No.
no.
And Schneider Electric has been let off the hook. They
By-
purchased the
in a
Foxborough
nutshell.
company.
Pretty much by
That's
the,
fine.
So this is the town's drinking water?
No,
no,
no.
no,
no.
All right. That was
absolutely
my
not.
concern.
no,
No.
not at all, yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, I appreciate
Okay.
it.
So the question, like the tree thing, don't know where that was.
It was most of it was in the water.
But, so if it was in the water,
Fell onto land and opened up a huge area. So,
I mean, they
is
should
there
have
any
told us.
remediation that should happen if a tree like that falls?
They should have
they
told
put
us.
out some,
Yeah.
well, how do we know?
They should call me and ask.
I guess
That's
it's
what I'm there for.
ignorance of the law,
Like the tree
I
company
guess.
should have
We
called
should have
us.
called you.
The tree company should have called us.
But if a tree falls like that, they should put up some barriers like they do with oil to keep the water contained?
It sinks, it doesn't float,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's a heavy metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in general, I mean,
But
we've
does
tried
it really
to
get
make, Hmm?
airborne when it, does the cadmium get airborne too?
It dries, yeah.
When it dries,
When it dries.
like when it gets up and it dries, then it can get.
that's
because
why
it's
we
in the
asked
top.
him to cover whatever it was he dug
Yeah.
out and dumped wherever
Were
he
you able
dumped
to
it.
take a boat and see the property from the lake?
No, actually, what you can do, and he was talking about the laws about going to a property. There's something called the Fourth Amendment, where you can observe a property from, if you don't get the person's permission, you can go up to the door, you can ask for the permission. If they say no, you go away. But you can observe it from a public roadway or from abutting properties. So we started going around knocking on the doors and asking abutting property owners if we could see what was going on back there, because I rely on all of my wonderful residents in town to tell me what's going on, because I can't be everywhere, nor do I
The
want to
residents
be.
to be a friend, those hit pieces in the local newspaper aren't helping.
Well,
So something to
It
understand,
didn't look
though,
good
Okay,
on any-
but
it didn't look good on
you-
you guys or the paper, or
Okay.
Mr. Nichols.
okay.
And that's all I have to say
I
about it.
agree, and unfortunately, we do not control the reporter.
And it's on TV.
Oh, okay.
And it's on TV, whatever. But the thing of it is, they like something that's sensational, so it will draw your eyes to the article.
Robert, it was your quote. I think it's time that we take legal counsel on it, if necessary, and go to the Supreme Court. They quoted you on that.
This is like
Okay.
lawfare against
Which
the
is-
citizens, rather than
Okay.
being friends
Which is a little
or
like-
partners with the
Okay.
citizens.
It was
Superior
what I
Court,
was told, well, never mind, we're not going to dig into it now.
And
but-
you're the one that had the emails that came to all of us today.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. They were, I was
See,
hacked, believe me.
There's many pieces to this, okay?
I understand.
We
And I know
have,
you're trying to do the right thing,
I
and I
know.
want you guys to keep the water clean. I'm all for conservation.
absolutely. And, I mean, you've got a big head start there because you get so much permanently protected land along that water. But that said, the NRRC has fought over and over and over to get that area dredged, which I'm not sure is the greatest idea. That gives me the screaming heebie-jeebies too. But basically, the only thing you can do is educate the public. But we've created an enforcement procedure, so we do enforcement by the book, as recommended by our professional organization, the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, or MACC. So there's that. Then, because we get development around the lakefront and the laws have changed, if somebody wants to knock down a house, we look for something that's going to be better for the environment. So, for example, on Neponset Heights, that's a perfect example. They got teeny tiny lots. One house was pretty much in the water, and these people wanted to put a skinny house in there. And so we said, fine, pull it back, make it better than it was, vegetate the whole front area, and make a rain garden so that the runoff won't go right into the water. And they did it, and that's what we've been doing. So we made a lakefront, I think we said waterfront, development policy, basically lakefront. And if you look on our website, I have a section called Lakefront Living, because it's all about education. If people don't know what they're doing is hurting their water,
Right.
you know, they don't know, and they wouldn't want to do it. So, and also we have, now we have a tree cutting policy for the people who have a dangerous tree. And there's a way you fill out the form, and I actually have one that I haven't had a chance to look at yet, on my desk. And, you know, if it's dangerous, I go out, I say, good, life is fine, for one tree. You know, not, a lot of people want to cut everything, and they just don't get that.
Do you have a list of helpful native vegetation that could be planted?
Absolutely.
If
Look on my
you have that
website.
on your website, I'd
It's,
gladly.
it's under
print that out and hand
landscaping,
it to my
and
friends.
it's called landscaping and native plants, I think.
Okay.
And then we have, at the Lane property, I started to say, we're trying to re-educate people, because a lot of times you hear native plants, you think weeds. So what we've done is we have a lot of native plant gardens with examples of the beautiful native plants that are around here. Native plants feed pollinators. The pollinators lay eggs that create little worms that feed all the birds. I mean, it's just a whole cycle.
Got it.
And it's all about, knowledge is power,
Yep.
you know, and check out the website, please.
Thank you for your thoughtful answer. I appreciate it and all your hard work.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
one
you
of the
for
plants,
your
one of the plants
thoughtful
that
questions.
that I like recommending is blueberries, because they're native, and then it's a win-win. You get the vegetation, plus you can get blueberries if you've got enough of them.
Wow.
If you keep the birds out.
Contaminated water blueberries.
Well, it's like the cadmium's not gonna make it up into the blueberries.
So what, you mentioned earlier that there's vegetation that can help clean the water.
Yeah, the
So-
buffer
or
zone
the
vegetation is
soil.
important because it slows down
But nothing's
stormwater
gonna,
runoff.
nothing you can plant will get cadmium out.
No.
Okay.
Right, unfortunately, no.
What is it, cadmium, nickel, and mercury?
Was it cadmium, and there were a couple of heavy metals, I don't remember what else.
PCBs in there?
I don't know if that
No,
was
I
there.
don't think PCBs were in there. That's,
All right.
Well,
Well, thank you for your time.
yeah.
I appreciate
it's
it.
it's complicated, it's a
Thank you.
complicated subject. Thank you for your questions.
any other comments from the audience? Anything else we need for tonight? Did you send that, you didn't send the negative determination around to be signed?
Oh, did you send it to, give it to me? Oh, you have it in your folder. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I need to give some classes, guys. It's all about education, really.
Anything else?
No, I've had enough.
Make a motion to close the meeting?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Beck.